Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by. Easter will soon be upon us and I have a sweet set of tags featuring an adorable set, Oh Bunny. This is a hugely popular set. It's been around for a while but has been re-released in Simon's newest release, Hello Gorgeous. In the past I've made quite a few cards with this set, but now it's time to make some tags. I began by die cutting eggs and sheet foam using the second largest die in Simon Says Stamps Nested Egg die set. The eggs were embossed using Simon's Blossom Field embossing folder. All of Simon's folders are thick, resulting in deeply etched designs. To prevent cracking, before I emboss, I spray the cardstock with a liberal amount of water to help loosen up those fibers. I used a Big Shot die cutting machine. I removed both of the cutting plates and just put a couple of cardstock shims on the platform to run the embossing folder through. The eggs are a little bit warped from the water, so mounting them on the sheet foam die cuts will help flatten them out. They are put under some weight until they are completely dry so that there's good contact between the cardstock and the foam. The foam die cut stretched a little bit. I use my scissors, run it around the edge to trim off that little bit of excess foam. I'm using a blending tool to apply some ink just to catch the tops of those embossed images to highlight them. For the couple of eggs that are die cut from the darker cardstock, I'm using Hero Arts Unicorn White. For the rest of the eggs, I choose a Distress Oxide ink that is about a shade or two darker than the cardstock. I've used Neenah Classic Crest 110 pound cardstock, which is nice and heavy, to die cut my tags and the flowers. I've used Simon's large rounded tag die and fresh daisies. After the foam-backed eggs are attached, I adhere the daisies by lining up that outer stem which is rounded to the perimeter of the egg. When I'm doing a project with multiples that have a repeat design, I like to do them assembly line fashion. This seems to be the most time efficient for me. I've seen several designers use this awesome little trick for stamping images on die cuts. For these tags, I'm going to be using the two stamps that have the multiple bunnies. I use the coordinating dies and cut 4 out of each. I hang on to one of the pieces of cardstock with the die cut opening for each style and then trim it off so that the corners are square. These pieces of cardstock will be used as templates to position the die cuts. Before I begin, the stamp is positioned in the die cut opening and then picked up on the door of the MISTI. With the setup complete, it's just a matter of popping in the die cuts into the opening and then repeat stamping. This is a great little trick to make sure that your stamped image is centered on your die cut. As usual, if you see anything that grabs your attention, you'll find links to the products that I've used in the description of this YouTube video or on my blog at bonniecarolee.com. The dies were also used to cut sheet foam, and after the bunnies were dry, they were stacked on the foam and then positioned onto the tag. The flat edge of the bunny images are lined up with the bottom of the tags. I'm going to be attaching netting that is about 6 inches wide through the hole at the top of the tag. The netting can be wound up tightly so it feeds through the hole easily. It is attached by doing a slip knot and then pulling it tight up against the edge of the tag and then trimming off some of that length. I really like the light and airy look of the netting with this design. 4 different sentiments have been chosen for the tags. I've stamped each one twice using Simon's Intense Black ink on Neenah Classic Crest 110 pound cardstock. For nicely centered sentiment strips, I cut them with Simon's Sentiment Labels die set. The tags were mounted on foam. Before I trim off the excess foam, the glue is allowed to dry completely. That takes roughly 10 minutes. The drying time whenever anything is mounted on foam is going to take a little bit longer than if you were adhering paper to paper. Then it is a quick job to adhere the sentiment strips to the eggs. And now for the embellishments. I'm going to add in some Silver Fever confetti by Studio Kasha onto the netting. I'm working on paper towel to try to avoid getting more glue on my glass mat. I apply a few spots of glue at a time to the netting and then add in the confetti. Periodically, I'll pull the netting apart just to make sure that the layers are not sticking together. The few pops of silver on the netting add just a nice little touch of whimsy to the overall project. The tags themselves are also embellished using another mix by Studio Kasha called Satin Rainbow Confetti. I pull out colors to coordinate with each of the tags. I'm not sure if you noticed, but for the bunnies that are facing backwards, I've also added in some cute little pom-pom details to the tails. And all of the rainbow mix that are on the tags have been topped up with Nuvo Crystal Drops Morning Dew. This final touch is something that I just can't even stop myself from doing. And that wraps up this sweet set of Easter tags featuring the adorable stamp and coordinating die set Oh Bunny. If you already have this set, hopefully this provides you some inspiration to pull it out and use it again. If you don't have it, you need to check it out. It is the most adorable stamp set ever. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I appreciate your visit.